I love Lisa.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you one and all for attending the 2023 annual membership meeting at the Fish-Off Ranch West HOA. I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:10 on November 30th. The first order of business on the agenda is the certification of quorums and proxies. So I assume that is ongoing by the election committee. And then the next item is proof of notice and meeting.
Did everybody receive the packet in the mail?
So for this item,
Okay.
I must explain a situation that has occurred. The entire room and the board.
First, we want to do that.
You can do that? Go ahead, do
Yes.
that. Now everybody's waiting.
Everybody, did everybody receive either a letter in the mail with a QR code or the paper packet?
No,
You didn't receive it? How'd you vote?
or online, when you sent out the email.
When I sent you, that's it. That's it. Okay, so we are good to go with that.
So, according to Florida statutes, items on the agenda tonight should be placed on the agenda and posted to the community 48 hours prior. I'm sad to report that for tonight, there was an omission to the agenda. And the 2024 proposed budget that we're supposed to review and approve this evening was overlooked and not placed on the agenda. Florida statute also says that we have to mail the proposed budget out 30 days prior to the start of the fiscal, which is January 1st. That day is tomorrow. So you can see we are in a bit of a quandary here. The budget has to be approved and mailed tomorrow, but we cannot approve a budget that wasn't on the agenda. So I'm faced with what's best for the community. Because we got to break one rule here. In my eyes, I see the best choice is to get the agenda out in the mail and into the hands of the members of this community as quickly as possible without delay.
The agenda?
I'm sorry, the budget.
The budget.
Thank you. Get the budget into people's hands so they can see it, and they have that 30 days to review it before January 1st and look it over. The alternative would be to delay and table approval of the budget for 48 hours. And we would meet on Saturday morning. The new board would approve the budget, and it would be mailed Saturday afternoon. This is a bit unorthodox. I would open the floor at this point to anyone that object to my primary proposal, which would be to carry on with approving the agenda tonight, despite the fact that we did not give 48-hour notice, get it in the mail so that everyone can see it for 30 days. And then they can file their complaints with the budget before it is enacted. I'll go to the board first for comments and suggestions, and then to everyone in the room.
May I ask a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Since we've all seen the budget and we know what it is,
Mhm.
Maybe we should ask the people in the room first.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I guess I would ask, does anybody object to the board approving the budget this evening? The budget's been in the works since October, correct, Sean?
No, September.
September.
We actually we had it available for approval last meeting, and for some reason we didn't get it done. I don't know what the real reason was, but we just didn't do it.
Yeah.
It should have been done last meeting, and that was the goal.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
With the 48-hour notice to put it on the actual agenda, what is the purpose of that notification time period? Is it just to give credence that it's actually going to be reviewed in awareness? I assume there's not any significant changes or content that would be occurring in that time period. It's just awareness this is up for discussion.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
How many people have not seen the budget?
Anybody that didn't attend the workshops?
Yeah.
Or Sean-
Primary.
So just to be clear, let me clarify something, please, sir. The budget, the draft budget does not get mailed out because it's just that, a draft. We don't mail out a draft budget we mail out notice that we will be approving the budget.
And review, and the workshops were open to everybody, everybody
Yes.
was notified. So you've never.
But
seen
once you get the
proposed
budget and review the budget, and you want to discuss the budget before it's approved, when does that take place? After you receive it in the mail,
Wait,
and you
so
review it, and you want discussion about it.
So the community, if the community doesn't agree with the budget, the procedure for disagreeing with the budget are outlined in our bylaws. And it's something to the extent of you have to get together, come up, develop an alternate budget, and then present that to the board for
within
approval.
10 days.
And 20% of the voting populace has to vote to do that.
Mhm, after it's sent
After
out.
it's approved.
That's
you
right.
do that.
Right.
You can't do it before,
No,
so.
you can only do it after, which is why I want to give everybody that full.
Like, after the fact, before the-
That's right, yes, sir.
Yeah, I would,
Everybody agree?
I would, in the community, actually, if they have objections,
Mhm.
give that to the board.
Okay,
Okay.
board? What's the board's opinion?
Does anyone on the board object to approving the budget this evening? then?
I just spent a crap load of time, let's approve it.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, but I wanted to hear what the
Yeah.
community said first.
Absolutely.
Because I know, I had a feeling what we would say.
Yeah.
Which is.
This needs to go in an after action report and make sure that the next board,
Mhm.
which will be announced later this evening.
This
gets
is
their
actually
interest.
scheduled that way. Just missed it. I mean, we did discuss it last year, we scheduled it that way, you put it on the calendar. we
I've
missed
seen
it.
it. Yes, Scott.
I didn't want to go on the record and say, as a homeowner, I object to the passing of the budget without it being properly posted on the agenda. Not that, that's all I'm saying, I want that on the record.
Okay.
That's all, I'll leave it at that. And I object because it's procedure to have that posted 48 hours prior, as you stated. So, as long as my objection is noted in the minutes, then that's all I have to say about it.
I will make sure it's noted. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
So theoretically, you could mail it all out tomorrow.
Mhm.
Make the 30 days and then approve the budget on New Year's Day.
It has to be approved first and then mailed.
Okay.
So we can't mail to, if we approve it tonight, we mail it tomorrow.
Yeah, it would be two days late, 1 day late mailing it. But we have to have 48 hours notice for the actual agenda, so that's why we have to do it Saturday,
Right, but even if it were on the agenda, the vote would approve it,
correct?
right? So it's really just a formality at this point, because in order for everybody to review the budget has to be passed so that it can be sent out. Then it'll be reviewed for 30 days. On that 30-day review, anybody who would like to propose an alternate budget has the ability to do so, bring it to the board, and then a 20% vote of the community would reinstate that budget, the revised budget, or the approved budget.
Almost,
Something along those
yeah,
lines. yes.
so 20% has to happen on a petition, to propose the new budget.
So it's a petition of 20% of the people. So in my opinion, there's really no reason not to approve the budget, send it out to get it in everybody's hands as fast as possible.
Okay. Right. Then that's what we do.
Me too.
So if there was an issue, if the resident had an issue prior to this approval, then you had to show up to the workshop to voice your concerns.
If you wanted input into the budgets, yes, you show up to the budget workshops, voice your concerns, they were open to the community.
September.
Yes,
There were 5 workshops, actually, one for each community.
yes.
Actually, did a 6th, and we did.
Gentleman in the back.
I attended the budget workshop. I had numerous concerns and questions. With regard to some of the line items. As they reflected upon Sager, I did not attend the other ones, I didn't say you would. I don't know if those were ever addressed.
Sir, I think when you see the Sagewood budget tonight, you will be pleased.
Okay. I question it. So again, I didn't want to go on record as well, but I didn't. I want to go on record again, that I attended the budget workshop, especially after everything that happened last year, thinking that I actually was gonna have some input. I don't feel that I did. So again, I'll leave it there for now, because that's not on the agenda, but that's why I object to the budget going out. Or being voted on tonight, because it wasn't properly posted. I'm not sure that the things that I addressed in the budget meeting were addressed. I don't know, they may have, they may not have. I don't know.
I say we get that budget in your hands as fast as possible then, so you can look at it.
Thank you.
All right. Then we'll go forth with reports of officers and we'll move on to the budget.
Treasurer's report, at this point, being at the last month of the year, I'd like to freeze any additional spending to keep the budget flat. So I'll speak up a little bit. Try to make sure that we're not adding any new spending other than our normal expenses we've already contracted for. I've requested from Patty to get all invoices in by the 15th, so that we can have them processed before the end of the year. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape from what the budget reflects, and I spent a good deal making it very accurate last night.
Did everybody hear that back there?
I'll say it again, just basically,
See if we can turn it
I
off.
updated the budget last night, only to include whatever overages we may be able to carry forward because of spending at the end of the year. Typically, we would have done this 3 months out, but this, because we're late, it afforded a more accurate depiction of what the carryover will be. And it actually came in some favors. So you'll see that on the budget. So I'm asking the board to not add any additional spending or approve anything between now and the end of the year.
Understood, thank you.
Thank you. The president's report.
But do we have a motion for them to approve,
Where's the motion?
the budget?
Well,
We didn't do report of officers yet.
it's a great investment, yeah.
Johnson again.
Open discussion out of order.
So it is the annual meeting. So somewhat like the president gives a state of the union, Patty told me I have to give a state of the HOA. So I wanted to sum up the year and maybe talk about a lot of things that happened this year and highlight some people and some things that occurred. First and foremost, everybody knows we used to be under a property management company, and we shifted to these young ladies right here managing our community. They care very much. They show up every day with the best interests of our community in mind. I think that's a great success, started by the last board and continued by ours and completed. We completely renovated our gym this year with all brand new state-of-the-art equipment. We painted the walls. And we fixed things that were broken. And it looks fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to get in there, it's better than any hotel gym that you'll ever go to at the Marriott or Hyatt. I highly encourage you to go in there and check it out. We replaced all the furniture at the pool. I can't tell you how many Facebook posts I saw this year about it's BYOC at the pool this year. Bring your own chair. I think we were down to 7 chairs at the pool one time. So we replaced all the chairs. We have furniture that's supposed to last 20 years. And if we take care of it, and if it does break, the company replaces them, no questions asked. So we got some really good things going on at the pool. As far as landscaping, that's the other major thing that everybody thinks of when they think HOA is keep the grass green and the trees trimmed. And we weren't doing so great at that. So what we did was we took one landscaping company that was responsible for all things, and we broke those responsibilities up into companies that specialized in irrigation, chemical treatment, and lawn and hedge maintenance. Now, if something isn't trimmed, we know exactly who to go to. If something isn't being properly irrigated, we have another person to point a finger at. I wasn't intentionally pointing at anybody over here. We revised our architectural guidelines this year. That was a long process. We took some advice from some community members. Some people wanted metal roofs, and they weren't allowed in the past architectural guidelines. And so we said, you know what? Why not? Why can't we have metal roofs that can stand 140 miles per hour and last 50 years? So we looked into it, and members of the board went out, they interviewed some metal roof companies, and we put that into the guidelines, amongst many other things. We had a lot of social events this year that got everybody together. We had some great events, some food truck events, Easter Bunny. We had a summer fest with bouncy houses and all, even fireworks at the end. And we got the Santa Claus event coming up, which this year is a little different. I'm going to put a plug in real quick. Even if you don't have children, show up to the Santa Claus event because it is a great opportunity to get a professional portrait done of your family by by somebody and get it professionally retouched. You can put it on Christmas cards or on your wall. It's going to be a great event. On the enforcement side of things, we had a lot of work to do. We had a lot of things happen in this community that needed to stop. We put a halt on a lot of Airbnbs that were being ran in our community, which is a violation of our covenants. So every week, Patty goes on Zillow, Airbnb, and another one and looks. And they pop up every once in a while. And a lot of times they're owned by people that don't even live in this state. So we squashed that because the last thing we want is Airbnbs all over our community. We also installed a new a security and access control system. This helps us tell who's vandalizing things, who's accessing things when they shouldn't, and we can hold the correct people responsible. We also hired a security company. And in the last 3 months, I can tell you from seeing the reports, our security company has stopped over 24 incidents of illegal and illicit activities, most involving drug use on our property after hours. In the gym that we just renovated 2 weeks ago, somebody was smoking marijuana. Last week, someone in the parking lot, adults from another community doing things in the parking lot they shouldn't be doing, etc. Almost, I would say 2 to 3 events a week. They're slowing now because people are realizing that don't bring that here. This is not a place for you. So kudos to our security company because they're definitely having successes. And the last thing I want to mention, which will lead us into the next thing, is we finished our year this year with a balanced budget. And in fact, we're going to take a surplus, a small surplus, into next year to cover some things we didn't get to pay for this year. We had no special assessment this year, which is an indication that your HOA is succeeding and thriving and healthy. The HOA should never have to go hat in hand to the community members and say, we need more money because we didn't plan properly. But all these great things we did this year, some you may have noticed, some you didn't. I'd like to extend my personal gratitude to everyone on the board that helped make these happen. No one person was responsible for any of this, and everyone at this table had something to do with it. So thank you all very, very much. It's been a pleasure working with you. And if I'm not on the next board, good luck to the next board. You have big shoes to fill.
That's it.
That includes president comments. Vice President?
I'm speechless. It rarely happens. No, I thank you for your leadership in the short time, Tommy's leadership before that. I wrote it down because it really is accurate. And one of the carryovers I think I want to emphasize is that there's some major renovation work that needs to be done at the pool. And that's a high priority for us. I know from the family's perspective, that just needs to be fixed. And if the carryover goes through on the budget, we'll be able to adjust it early in the year, not later in the year. So that's very good.
And our playground should start next week.
Oh, and the playground.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. We're replacing the playground. That's another caveat.
That's right. That's right. I don't like to count eggs before they're hatched, right?
Well, it's paid for.
Yeah. All right. With that said, for the budget, do we want Sean to brief the first page of the budget
Sure.
out loud?
So
Can I give the general overview?
one of the things that we didn't do in our past, especially with the management company, is they didn't actually properly carry over the money into the new budgets. They had you vote on it, but they didn't actually add it into the budget to try to reduce or increase dues, whether it's a deficit or a surplus. So we've been tracking that very carefully. That's what takes all the time, is to make sure we have the most accurate amount. What do we end up with at the end of the year? How much do we overspend at the end of the year? What can we save at the end of the year to try to come up with a number? That surplus is made a big difference in a couple communities this year. And I can tell you that, you know, some of them are going to be pretty flat, but the nice thing is that the surplus keeps us a buffer to move forward without having to wait to the end of the year to have funding to do something. An example of that would be that Westlake has a very small community. We collect dues. It takes us an entire year to come up with an extra $10,000 to do anything in the neighborhood, because that's the only amount that we have left over after we pay our bills. So carrying some of that forward to do something makes a big difference. In the larger communities, it's a larger number, obviously. So that's the smallest of the numbers, but that's how it works out. So this first page goes through the breakdown where we were last year And I'm gonna go through each one of these in reverse order of the way they were built. So Sandpiper Crest was paying $188 last year. Their dues will increase to $20 on its proposed budget. The reason for that is that we started taking on the landscaping responsibilities when the builder just relinquished control to us just, 6 months ago. So now we're taking that responsibility. They had a reduction last year, so this is almost flat from the year before. Westlake, there's a $15 increase to Westlake this year, mostly for trying to plant some of the dead plants that have disappeared and use that as a $12,000 budget line for just planting, and that's where that $15 comes from. Sagewood had a pretty good sized deficit, but we cut their budget enough to save them $28 per month. So their new dues would be $371, a 7% reduction. Paired Villas, we added some services, but we didn't increase your dues. It's going down $141 per month. So they're going from $296 to $155 and getting more services out of it. The reason for that is that we are installing these smart timers, and we don't have that expense going forward. It's a one-time expense, so we can take that out of the budget and actually save that money moving here forward. The master had a pretty good size carryover that we're talking about here, and we're planning on using it for the pool and things that we would have to take from reserves in addition to out of the budget. So its dues is going to be $69 this year. We went up $1 to cover what we need to this year for inflation and new services. So all in all, the budgets came out really, really nice. Any questions? Yes.
Well, I'm in and my question is, what is that $68 that we're paying monthly in addition to this thing? What is that going to?
It covers the three main facilities for the HOA: the lake house, the dog park, the pools. That is part of that fee, and all the management of all the associations. That's all included in that fee.
Are all the members paying that fee?
Yes. Everyone, including Encore, who has got their own HOA inside there, everyone pays it.
Hey, Sean, did you say for Sandpiper that was the increase for the maintenance of the lawns? Did you say that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Any other questions I can answer?
How much did you say for the pay with us, Sean? Did you say $100 pay fees?
I'm sorry.
How much did you say for the pay with us?
Paired villas is $155. Yeah, yeah. That's a huge savings, guys. That's huge for them. I'm proud that
Actually,
we're able to do
the
that.
reduction is $141,
Yes,
$141. No.
down, but the new dues should be $155.
Sir, that is the first time I've ever seen you smile at a meeting.
Charging more. I would say $140, so you did a good job.
Yes, sir.
We try. It doesn't always work the way we expect, but we try. Any other questions I can answer?
Okay, John.
I saw where there was a report from the state because of the increase of insurance companies were affected local legislators. That can be something incorporated into that's coming.
It is, and it's already been budgeted. I put a 12% increase for that. I've already talked to the insurance company. There's only a couple things that I estimated the increase because they couldn't give me real numbers yet, but that's one of them.
Okay.
All right. With that,
Can I make one added comment?
Yes,
That's one of the reasons we have a contingency built into the budget.
Yeah,
Exactly
I
that.
think that just a lot of folks don't read into that stuff, right? So when they don't, it's a shock. So that's why I'm paying attention to all this.
That's a question that's been brought up a lot, and I'm glad Max said that, is that we add a 10% contingency, and that's what's causing us not to have to go back and say, oh my God, what just happened, right? Hurricane hit us, how do we pay for that? We can't take reserves to pay for incidental expenses, we can only do it for assets. So we have to have some reserve or contingency to pay for things that are unforeseen. And that's exactly what it's for, and it's proven to be an asset, right? This is the first year we had it, and we're doing pretty good with that.
right. With that, who wants to make the motion to pass the budget?
I make a motion, we pass the budget.
Well, I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Let's get this in the mail tomorrow.
Stanley?
Good job, Sean.
Thank
Thank you. Very good.
And the committee, right?
And then, yeah.
And the
finance
committee.
committee, people that helped out, Jason included, who's here, right, he helped out a lot.
Who's there? You should take a bow.
So speaking of committees, the next item on the agenda is reports of committees. Would any committees present like to brief anything?
Social committee?
Historical committee. First part is what action?
The event, for Santa, Pictures with Santa and Storytime with Santa is the 9th and 10th. On the 9th, it is from
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Mhm.
Thank you. On the 10th, it is from 10 to 2.
Two, yeah.
It's $30 per family. This is a flat fee. This is actually taking money from the previous years. If you have more than one child, if you have one child, then that's right. Yeah. There are families that have 4 children and 6 children, and they, this was a fair and
Thank you.
nice way to do it. Yes, that is the fee, and that's the dates, and that's the next social event.
Is it okay if I add a comment for the social committee? Something you guys should be aware of is that the money from the social budgets come from the rental of this lake house. So when we rent the lake house multiple times a month, that $200 fee goes directly into funding the social committee. It's not coming out of our budget. So the more we rent this, the more we can spend on social events. So rent it if you have time.
Thank you. Okay. The event we're all here for.
Here we go.
This is what's next, right?
All right, so we have to validate some of the ballots here. It'll take us a few minutes and review the counts, but we'll recess until we get that done. We're gonna sit over on the counter and start taking care of that. Election committee up to the counter. I do need a volunteer, a 5th person to help us count. Anyone? Someone from James?
Yeah, not running for office. Thank you, sir.
Call a recess at
Recess at 36 after that.
It's good, it's good that, yeah, it is. I should, just to get it. I guess it's probably.
John, how we doing? How are we doing? Yeah, how's it? Okay,
That's fine.
well,
You know, when you run through the process. I go to that, you know,
I do too.
and they have been, it's like making sausage. Not necessarily a good
you don't
process.
realize we did that much over the years.
But, you know, and we're poised, that's why I hope that might be added, and we're poised early in the year to address some major problems. So by the end of the year, we'll have new flash and I don't know, we'll be surfacing in the new.
If you didn't, we also painted.
Oh, yeah, but in this time, we painted the pool. We painted once.
Yeah.
But you know, that's measured. These are,
Well,
that's.
it was looking very shallow.
No, I understand, but the gym was an improvement, the pool furniture was an improvement, the landscaping, the new contract was nice and accountability. So that's really important.
No, that's it.
So those are.
Well, nobody can really know any of the
Maintenance.
I don't know, probably something on 10 minutes.
You know, we got one on have children.
Are you?
So I don't have a big thing in the community. Around there for 6 years. I know when I moved here,
We were focusing
when I
on.
go in certain places.
We're gonna put it into.
Maybe, yeah.
It was that
On Facebook.
there is organization.
Yeah.
Really was.
We'll see.
Basically this. But then at a certain point you have to read. You don't read it. You have to. And so I think we were going through the storming moment of the shopping, but we were in the unfrozen. And this year we refroze it. And now we're. Tell us. And that's what my PhD major in Homeland Security, it was really about organization change, organization change. There's a fourth value that was added later. That's. We can do all of the. Honestly, that if you don't change the culture, or take culture into account, you don't be able to do it. You can do, then you change the chairs on the.
You can't change the culture. I think you can take that.
Oh, you can't just put so. No, you can, I mean.
So.
Almost not. So, when I think. Very kind of business in the house, not the big.
I'm only good for 30 more. 30 more days.
You change the standard. Unfreeze, you make a change. The people that were there, they told, you people show up, and that's the new thing. And people are like, so.
Then it's time. Without having, see, that's how I say. When I have children, you don't, you're not gonna, I mean, I could
Now
go
you
out
have a same support.
I don't do things and you can go check. I did a lot of likes and shit. Things like I do, but. Now, you know, I'll get them out of work and people know me by seeing me here.
But that's what I'm saying, is you have to have a valuable.
Sometimes you get those. Sometimes you don't get.
Like a unit of tactics. Completely change its culture. Because
Well, I think too, it's so that you not watch things, you don't do anything, you can. We decided not to. You want to go, I used to, that person's getting.
change you want to do. You're able to change.
I'm just so busy at work. You see, what I knew when I needed a candidate, I knew there was no way I could get off that. We had 2 full-time guys, myself and another guy, that's a part-time guy.
Yes.
Everything is doing, and we don't, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday. Part-time guys can all. They can't. They don't. Yeah. So did the election committee.
So, yeah, I'm like, we're out of here.
Sometimes you screw up. That's the, it was just.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, right away, because I had a date out.
Yeah.
Because every time I don't do it, I already said, this time of year, I get a little, I I get the weekend, I get Christmas off, I get that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday's Christmas. And I go all the way to the 35 and back to the first to work, the day of the holiday, really, you know. And then I get 2 more days off and then I'm not. I got soon these meetings at a electrical room.
So, yeah,
At work.
I am.
I've been inside electrical. I've been in electrical and five and electrical. I didn't put my phone on the panel.
No, I'm afraid not.
Doing a Zoom meeting on it, yeah, doing a Zoom, they're like, where are you at? I've done Zoom meetings. I've done Zoom meetings on it. Loading in things that I'm able to go and you're able to do it. Then if I get called, all the time doing events, we normally, when these meetings are getting started.
Good.
So,
And that's when it's hot.
we're talking about.
It's hot, like, It's electrical. I mean, it's just saying. Can you just tell us?
Like, when I'm born.
You have to wait till all the doors open there.
But a lot of times.
If they want to, they hear them, they're like.
Either up.
I'm gonna get some.
But yeah, daughter and I used to basically.
I got my. He's coming, he's coming. You'll be back.
We're gonna take, we're gonna take, I was thinking of that.
Well, I'm the leader of my life. He'll be back.
We had good speed.
He doesn't be around. How many years?
Both, I think.
I have no idea.
You're good. That's where you gotta go.
Give my keys on.
There's a truth.
So how things that they're meeting.
We have a hockey fights cancer tonight. That's what they're doing. That's all hockey teams.
Yeah, I know, they've been doing this for a while.
They do the dads sons to different venues, and it's the hockey dads and all that stuff, and they do that. I know I saw in our last game, they had all the dads from the opposing team. And then the other night, they had all the Lightning guys up. Forgot the post. Yes, the Coyotes, somebody was, maybe Minnesota or something, all the dads are there. So they do that every year. They've never done the mom, I've never seen the moms, which is kind of strange because you don't understand, maybe that'd be cool to do. I've only seen the dads.
And yet, they. Fighting cancer is the.
Yeah, our lavender color. See, I used to get those every year. When Miss Earl Casey worked there, she ran the foundation, and every time we had it every year, I would get a hat, the beanie. I get the pin, the scarf. I think I got a shirt one year. But I would get that every year that she left. And they people, they're really cool, but they don't do that. I haven't said anything one time. I'm thinking to myself. What's it gonna do? Everybody out there just, a lot of times, a lot of stuff, they just throw it out there, everybody in the front of the house, we take it off, people, they're just throwing that stuff all up, because I saw boxes and boxes and boxes all throughout the office. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not back.
There's a lot of things say, although they did this for once, I've worked there 10 years. And once they're actually paying for my phone starting January 14th. The first time in 10 years, never been paid. And it's the policy we're not supposed to use our tax. Oh, my boss is like, oh, what do you do? It is. And they go to work, they can write to us. So see, they play this, they play this. Then my one boss will say, well, he goes, in every arena, you're not supposed to use your phone or talk on your phone, but he said, but if we really need to get a hold of you, we might have to call you on the phone. So you started out with, no, to. You told my one boss, like, stop answering the phone. I said, look, and he got up there, and I got a part-time guy there. He only works every once in a while. He's been there, say, 7 years part-time. During COVID, he wasn't there for almost 2 years. He didn't really know the building in the beginning. If the guy's gonna call me and ask me where there's a break off, and they need to get it back on. If my boss doesn't know where it's at, who's gonna tell him? We got power up to the building. Something goes down. You have to say, I'm not gonna turn my phone. I told my one guy, text me if it's an emergency, but don't call me for no reason. Don't call me to say, hey, we're playing good tonight, or hey, man, I can't believe this happened. I don't need, if it's an emergency, don't call me. So when did you guys do this? I don't even know. My one new guy, he's been there 2 years. That guy will call me and tell me, hey man, this show is really slow loading in. And he goes, I don't think they're gonna get the chairs down in time. You know what I said to him on the phone? I don't know. That's not my part, our part is electrical, we have nothing to do with putting a home. They need us, when we're done, we can help, yeah, we'll all jump in and jump. I mean, I probably put out maybe 20 chairs in 10 years. You know, we need to, why so, he'll probably go, hey, the dress, they're not even ready yet. I said, you will, go down there. I trained everybody how to be, the best way to do it is go down there, when I first start coming in, start finding the people that are running the areas, I was saying, hey, I'm the electrician for the morning. What can I get for you? What do you need? I'm gonna be the guy. So you tell me, what do you need in these rooms? I'll start popping in there. Because once they set them up, they don't like you with things. I mean, they put the paper, pipe and drape up, they'll put all the curtain stuff, they'll put all the lighting in, and then they'll come there and go, hey, I don't wanna go in there and have to hide behind the couch and move all this stuff like this, and buying the entire room. I don't wanna move things. I wanna go, hey, you threw my table, I'm like, well, I gotta put fire in it. Why did you do this for? I said, I actually asked and told me I couldn't do anything. She goes, that doesn't sound right. I said, exactly, but I'm here now. So I'll do whatever I can not to mess things up. And I mean, you got fine china sometimes, glasses on there, got bottles of everything. I mean, this all set up like a house. So it's not a party. Was a. I mean, I did our press lounge, we did it in red. So all the electricians in the ceiling, I put a red gel in it. So that it would, just get it, so they gave me the color, they wanted blood red. So it comes out red, and a darker shade. So then I put all these uplights like these, I put all these uplights all through the room, made that baby all nice and red. It looked like that 1970s, 1960s plush room back in the day. That is for, this is another comment. Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Because it's just mushroom.
Whatever reason.
So they had a party after the show.
Okay.
You want to buy it? But we can't say no in the building, even though we're smuggled this, run free and everything. Shows do what they want to do. They don't just do it at our place, they do it all over America. Can't tell them that. You start the moment you say, look, there'll be no alcohol, there'll be no drinking, no nothing in the building, you can't bring that. Well, we're not gonna allow someone to be in there just cocaine and stuff like that. But the smoking and the marijuana, they're so strong for a lot of the shows. Can't say anything. Hey, we had the bomb dogs walk by. There's a cop. And that dog walking with the bomb. Well, we had one show. When I went in there earlier, you couldn't see anybody in there because it was so smoky. They opened the door for the dog. That's what I'm saying. Bomb dog. They walk in there and there's been people with bombs in there. That's what the consent. Because the moment you put that on your resume, there'll be no shows coming to in the arena. Any show that stops it, there'll be no shows coming to the arena. Because they do what they want. They rent it, they own it. It's kind of like they rent things, like short things. Old people are gonna get charged. So. Yes. Where's that? So I would be there. Right.
Yeah.
And then one.
Change that. Picturing me. Okay.
So this is doing the prisons.
Yeah.
But if we say that. And that's our model. Christmas. Christmas. So it's just one of them. She's on the outside. She's so.
I've got. Got the ones on the wall. Oh, you got the one. Got the big one. Oh, okay, you're right. And my wife said, I said, no, he's gonna do something bad. I said, that's not gonna happen. Come that up. Come that up. Is it heavy there? It's gone. My wife. I got $6 and.
For decorations, first time they say, or. And then they wanted to try.
So we have a small attic, it's not that big, so a lot of Christmas stuff. Where's my little thing? And then we don't have anything in the attic in the house, that's only you're not putting anything in the attic. It's not in the attic. So we have two extra rooms, one room is for whole closet room, all the people and stuff, so it's a giant walk-in closet. And then in the other room, it's got a bed, dresser, no TV, I wanted no TV, I wanted to this and one. And that is pretty good stuff, and you know, that's our European stuff. But then, my trips, we have all the suitcases.
Yeah.
That's all the skeletons. Roll them out, put them all into there. Then, the closet in the hallway, the loft, that's where the water, where the. Air conditioner. Yeah, things on that practice. Then in the loft closet is master bedroom. There's a lot of space. She has. Then we have dumpster grates.
We do have. No, we don't have. Fall, like. And mine, the rotating tree that's in that house. The rotating ones, like. I'm already down at the fence tree, it's got all the.
Alright, so what is the procedure for the motion? The windows? People. Is there any kind of circumstance to it?
My wife is.
You have this delay,
In our tree, our house, because we only have 10. So we did a smaller tree that just goes in with the top roof.
Yep.
And she has all this stuff that she puts in. There used to be a place in Lakewood, gift store kind of thing. It was expensive stuff. She knew the owner. Give her seals on all the ornaments and all this stuff. And she buys this stuff from everywhere. And that tree is.
She hasn't been around,
So we went to the one up in,
Colorado, just you come up into the mountains, there's.
There's two big warehouses and joint warehouses that are in the front, or joined by like. And the second warehouse is full of nothing but Christmas trees, and it has like, things for these, you know, I'm trying to say, like it looks like outside. And it's not like the markets and stuff, you can buy they have ornaments that will order and Christmas is there's a huge. I know that when we were at our wedding. And, yeah, we haven't made it over there this season yet.
Just lost the only thing is just. And I don't send our retire 62. I don't want to have to take all this stuff with us because I want to get this. Less. So I want to go to. My mom's place. That's where I'd like to.
Where?
Well, she has a place in Oakland by the sea. It's not on the Atlantic side. So when you come out, it'll be, in Atlantic Ocean. Right there. And my wife like, hey, are you guys gonna come up? And I'm gonna see what they're doing with Christmas. I said, well, I got, you know, the thing is like that. Go to living like I got my dad and my stepmom to hang out with my sister and my husband and the new baby. So we gotta do a lot of stuff. So we're gonna meet them not this Saturday, next Saturday. Then I got a Christmas party with my father. Then I gotta work some shows and stuff. Then I've got to go to my sister. Somewhere. My mom did around here and we got one place to go the next. I told my wife, said, why don't we leave on the 26th and go on the beach? I said, we need to go there for a couple of days. And see, there's the view. There's the view. That's right on the patio that you walk down to. Right there, it's on that side of the water. So you can't be.
Be there.
Well, we were there that weekend. We drove in that night. It's pretty national. We rolled in the day. We came in about Sweet Lake. There on 95. We took all the back roads. Landed all that came on private speedway. So it said, get on 95. So we were only like, leave mountains away. So 35 minutes. Yeah, 95 is swing. So I said, we're going straight, we're going over the bridge, we're split. Daytona. I said, you're coming that way. Man, this wind's so good.
Oh, Vinyan. Got a truck?
She's actually, it's a lease. She's leasing her actually be now. Her last name is on the 22nd of next month. But we're not going to go back to the same. She's been driving. She's actually driving. And every other 2 to 3 years, I would just swap. I said, you know what? I'm not doing it. But I don't think you can. I'm so told he likes to get
That's right. I was to get rid of my car.
now we're gonna buy it, but we're not expecting it. Wherever we like the car, we really did it very well. It's something to.
I know, well, that's the, mine's 2011. And the last. Years, we just had sales for. But you know what, I'd rather. Look at all the time that I don't have to spend. You know, the only bad thing is Cedar and.
I want her to get, she likes to be driven and she likes the car. I'm still gonna go with the German car. She's looking at that the 2 weeks. Halloween time. And the kids are going to my time, they pull that. Whole head, she's getting out of one. So I knew I tell by the sign inside. I said, what you had before. She goes, it's so big. And just was gonna get to the point where I'm like, I was gonna say, you know, my use of be on. I love it. She has rooms under like, really nice. Yeah, well, I love it. I had the Jetta Woodburg edition. It was all white with leather, and it was through this.
Yeah. I had the convertible, it was my convertible and just loved it. We had that out.
I mean, I like my car. I bought mine, so I don't go over it.
Yeah.
5 years or something. Yeah, I bought I mean, I really don't know. Tomorrow. You guys go to the bank. I can admit, you saw this. A little Mustang. It's like in between.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted it. They were working on the car. But back in the day, when the modern, the 300 turbo, they bought it, and they didn't know. We didn't want their ideas. They were nice cars. People went for them all. If they wanted that stupid emblem, they did that. Hang on, and now it's on the hood.
Do you ever need it?
So if I decided. And I go, I'm sure this guy. So I met this guy. Then first meeting was I bought the two. It was a gay color, like this color shirt.
Yeah.
Kind of, and then I bought the tax sticker. Then I got with that. So I pushed it over. Never mind. We're over. It's like the government camera that cost $800.
My wife had internet access. But she needed it to keep track of the balls. So I could go, but I'd have to ask permission.
I drove one of those. And it was maybe it was kind of. I don't know.
Now I don't take.
You know, one from the blue tag,
And like in the last 4 days.
Retired from this regular job.
Well, yes.
People started getting sick. Colds. You know, and we actually gave, we didn't. Then finally,
They're fine. Oh, I don't want to go down.
I'm not sure they lost. Well, I got.
I was here.
Saturday.
I love.
And I think okay, I had my mask on, so I'm wearing a mask. I said, it to be over. All right. It's funny, she goes, it's like, oh, you know, say you only do social. Yeah, I'm gonna go jump.
It's in the house.
And I go, because I keep getting to my doctor, because there's all my work, so I was like, "Thanks, I know."
I mean,
We did it, we said, "That's the thing, you okay with it, you have a-" She said, "I have a right." Take it to somebody.
And I knew you told me that one of the words that I
I knew I counted it out. I've been trying to stretch it. You're gonna have to work this. I have no weekends. I want. Because you're not. He goes, it's already. You're not saying something.
Except that I look at this one as surgery.
Well, that's another reason. You just said. You need to come in. Can you drive?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my depth perception is just.
It's a little.
You should have called me.
No, it was, because I water it up and fry it open.
I was gonna say.
I had my daughter there too. I forget what was going on. I think my wife was taking my father-in-law. Emily could have driven me. Well, my point with her was, she should drive me. That's getting driven. They said,
No. We're gonna, I'm gonna start with a thank you. To the election committee, absolutely. And then Sean will take it. And then they'll announce the new board members. I think that they announced the vote on the carryover. Right. And then we go to resident input, and then that's the end. And that's it.
well, then new boards.
Well, yeah, then we're gonna reset.
And then the new board comes back in.
Yeah, and then whoever made the new board can come take their seats.
Right.
So I don't understand. The current board. Their term actually runs through December 31st. No. That was Sean. Sean said your term's over tonight. Yeah, tonight.
It seems to be a consensus. It doesn't say in the bylaws anything about like when the election runs, so.
Well, is that when we did it last time?
Yeah, and based on what George said, and I asked, like, is there a rule on this? Consensus is that. After announcing them.
You remember,
why would you-
we were all still talking.
Why would you stay and then the other board just sits and waits in my?
We don't have any.
You make a decision.
For last election, so we hire them.
Was it in November at the end?
February.
Yeah, I don't think the law.
It was over.
bylaws
They
were-
were.
It's not fair.
Internet messages and make it.
Whatever you set out.
Okay.
We're better scheduled this year. than soon as we-
We were just talking about that.
We wanted to get-
We've institutionalized a lot of things.
We put it on the calendar, I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm okay.
All right, I will reconvene the meeting at 7:12 PM. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. But before we do, I would like to express gratitude to the election committee. Reaching quorum in an HOA election is a very, very difficult thing to do. And we've done it 2 elections in a row now. So to the residents of the community, I say thank you as well. Without further ado.
So I'd like to tell you the process that we took to get to where we are. Election letter does most of the heavy lifting because it can total up the ballots, but we also send out paper ballots to those who've opted out. Okay, so we have to count those by hand. But more importantly, some people actually become invalid because of their account status. And so we have to validate each of the ballots against that status and also against the election runner to make sure there's not a duplicate. Because if it's in a paper one, we have an electronic. So we've done all that process. After we've done that, we strip them from their outside envelopes, throw them in a box, and randomly pull them back out of the box to take them out of their inner yellow envelope, which is not marked by anything. They strip those and they're passed between the 5 members and the volunteer, James said a volunteer from the gallery here. And they total them up on their tally sheet individually. They compare the tally sheets to make sure they match, they sign on the tally sheets, and we come up with a result. That's about as accurate as we can make this without having some type of major computer involved. But it's gone very smoothly. Last time it took us a lot longer, right? And this time it went much smoother. So at this point, announce the winner.
Okay, first, like to introduce everyone to the question.
James Ruhlman, I live in Westlake, I live across the street from Sean. That's part of my picture.
I apologize.
Hi, I live in Neighborhood.
I'm Megan Nguyen, I live right across the street.
I'm Beth Tucker, I live in Westlake.
And I'm Kimberly Fick, and I also live in the main. Whatever.
And let you know, her husband's also on the finance committee. He hasn't participated a lot this year because he has been very helpful.
Alright, so without further ado, the first thing to note is that there was a question about a vote to carry over excess funds to the following tax year, and happy to say that that was passed.
Excellent.
Secondary, we received a total of 437 valid votes, valid ballots, and 3 invalid votes. So for those that were invalid, they were either not listed by name, didn't have an appropriate name, and or were not packaged appropriately with the corresponding information. So without further ado, happy to announce the 2024 board is as follows: Kevin Schmidt, Rebecca Van Landingham, Mark Rosenthal, Jason Depew, April Ducote, I'm sorry, Michael McMahon, and John Lovinggood. The lowest free votes are those that have the top or the lowest amount of votes were April, Michael, and John. They are up for election in 2025. The other 4 are up for election in 2026. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to everybody that's on the board. We're going to take a 10-minute recess. And the new board will come and we have some business to talk about. Motion to adjourn the annual meeting.
Right, I move to adjourn the annual meeting.
I'm sorry, wait. Resident input.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, the most important part of the night. Thank you, Pat. Resident input.
I heard the good news, it was all fine and good. Now for some not so good news, on a personal level, for my home.
Okay.
I've had a sod issue in my backyard since March of this year.
Mhm.
My yard was visited by Sean, Kathy, I believe, Patty, Tom from Sunrise, and they all agreed that my sod had to be replaced. Let me repeat the date, March of 2023. It is now going for December 1st, 2023. The same condition exists. I've been told now that for budget reasons, that cannot be done. By management, that's what I was told, okay? Now, I need to have an explanation from the board as to why that exists. That the budget is not allowing me to have my sod according to the governing documents. And how it's worded, you cannot abide by those rules. What's the explanation? March
I'll
of
start.
2023.
I'll start. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, was your sod ever replaced before March of
2
23?
years in a row, this will be the third year.
Third year in a row. That your sod is repeatedly dying in your backyard specifically.
Now it's gone to my neighbor's yard.
Have we,
The fungus.
has anyone ever identified the cause of the death of the
Yes.
sod?
Patty,
Mhm.
you want to fill us in on what has been done?
It's a fungus.
It's a fungus.
It's a fungus, just like the property down at the end of the property. Down at the end of the community.
Can it be treated or does it need to be completely scraped?
It needs to be completely sprayed.
Okay.
It's the only way to stop it. It's because it's under the trees.
To help support.
Did we get a cost estimate?
Yes, it was at last month's board meeting.
Mhm. And then, all right,
Mark,
this is in Westlake, correct?
No, Sagebrook.
Sagebrook, sorry.
fungus happens by watering in cool temperatures where the fungus can grow. It is a problem in Florida, just like your new watering restrictions now, you should be watering during the day, not at night, most people like to water at night, you should never do that. I'm pretty sure we adjusted the timer to compensate for that, but I think it was too late, by John was already pretty much. done.
Well, one of the problems is there's not enough irrigation ports for the amount of grass that has to be watered. So those were put in about a week ago.
So we're trying to make strides to fix it, right?
Sean, March,
I know.
2023.
I'm aware, definitely.
Violation is 30 days after you recognize the issue, according to the government document.
Gentlemen, let's not get into
I don't
a
wanna get-
debate. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention personally and the other board members. And I want to get this fixed for you, sir.
I'm assuming that in 9 months, it's been brought to your attention. And if
I've
it
seen it
hasn't
at the
been,
last meeting and, you know, they, according to the net budget in the last meeting, it couldn't be funded. Let's, we will reattack and
Especially when you have a surplus.
Yeah.
That's the real issue.
That, I was gonna say, Sagewood
Well-
doesn't have surplus.
How much we spend on sodding removal in Sagebrook this year?
$23,000, I believe. like,
Let's look at
I'm sure it's supposed to be.
On Sagebrook?
26,000 now. I'm saying, we just approved of, that's the same type of person, 9,000.
Vampire.
Okay.
It was not, definitely not there.
Yeah, it's not so-
So Sagewood had a
That was not-
carryover deficit of $8,326.12.
That's correct.
That makes me feel better. But yeah, the surplus, I mean, it's maybe no one.
Well, that's a
Sorry?
deficit.
Yeah.
That's a deficit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably what I didn't do.
But my problem is, we go back to March, 30 days after that, were you out of money then? That you couldn't do it? Was there a budget reason back in March and April?
Likely. Jeff, I want you to have the greenest grass in all the neighborhood. And I remember,
I'm just asking for living grass.
sir, I understand.
People visit my house.
Yes, sir.
I pay $65 a month thereabouts in my budget,
Yes, sir.
okay, and my assessment, have my lawn taken care of.
Mhm.
And in the governing documents, it says that's the way it's supposed to be. That is your responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Hire somebody to do that. And it's not being done. So my question is, why? You're telling me you don't have the money. Well, really? If I didn't pay you the $65 every month for landscaping, would you come after me for the money? I bet you would.
Certainly.
I'm just trying to be, reasonable about it.
I understand.
I
Yes, sir.
think 9 months is reasonable.
But, like you said, we had to identify what's causing your sod to die. And I think at this point, we have to replace it with different sod. So we've identified the problem and then now we need to get it replaced. So let's look at this in the new year and we'll get it fixed. I'm sorry that this is happening specifically in your backyard.
Mark, again, it is personal. It's just an issue that,
Just business, I get it.
I go by the HOA governing documents.
Sir,
Okay, and if I don't, I get a violation or whatever, and with all due respect, I expect the HOA to abide by the same governing documents.
sir. I will meet with Patty and the landscaper. And we'll get a fix to this problem for you.
Tom is well aware.
Yep. Well, like you said, they've been trying to fix it, right? They've been out to your
No, they
property.
haven't, no, they haven't tried to fix it.
You just say
They've
like,
identified the problem,
yes, sir.
and they identified somewhat of a fix should be, but they have done nothing toward the fix.
Yes, sir.
That's my problem. My patience is run thin.
I understand. Thank you, sir, for your input.
Yeah.
Other resident input? no other resident input. All right,
Now,
yes, ma'am.
I move to adjourn the annual meeting.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
I
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. For the new board, meet back here at the bottom of the hour at 7:30, please.